All right, everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to go through your TOA worksheet. This will be your homework help video. So just like always, I will go through and do the evens, which will mean you have to go through and do the odds. There's only 8 problems here, so this should be a relatively quick one for you. Looking here at problem number 32, the angle we are given is 35. That means, well, of course, this is your hypotenuse as it's across from the right angle. The opposite would have been over here, which makes this your adjacent. We don't know anything about the opposite, so we're not going to be able to use it. So when we think about SOH, we know that cosine works with the adjacent and the hypotenuse. So we're going to say the cosine of our angle is going to be equal to the adjacent, which is b, over the hypotenuse, which is 17. Now we just need to solve this. So to get b all by itself, we're going to start by multiplying both sides by 17. That's going to give us 17 times the cosine of 35 is equal to b. Then to solve that, b is all by itself, so we can just punch that out on our calculator. So 17 times cosine of 35, and I get the answer of b is equal to 13 point, let's call it 93. And we're done. Looking over here at problem number 4. In this situation, we are looking for the hypotenuse as it's across from the right angle. We are given the angle 35 degrees, so this is the opposite side as it is across from there. So in this situation, since it's the opposite in the hypotenuse, we should be using sine. So sine of our angle is going to be equal to our opposite, which is 36, over our hypotenuse, which is x. Now, in order to solve this, you want to start by just multiplying both sides by x. That's going to get these two to cancel, so I'm going to have x times the sine of 35 degrees is equal to 36. Now x is not alone, so we're going to have to do more work, so we're going to divide off the sine of 35. To both of these two cancel off, and I'm left with x equals 36 divided by the sine of 35 gives us an answer of 62.76 as our final answer. And that would make sense as it's bigger than our other side over there. If it was smaller, we'd have an issue because it's our hypotenuse. Looking down here at problem number 8, we're being asked to find angle C. So if we are looking for angle C, let's just call it x for a second. Across from x would have been the opposite. This, of course, is the hypotenuse, and this would be our adjacent. Since we don't know anything about the opposite, we don't want to use that. So when we think about our adjacent and our hypotenuse, we know we should use cosine. So cosine of our angle would be equal to the adjacent over our hypotenuse, so 8 over 12. Since we're looking for the angle, we want to use cosine inverse, which means we're going to move the 8 over 12 in and the x out. So punching this in, second cosine inverse of 8 divided by 12 is going to give us our answer of 48 point, let's call it 19. So 48.19 will be our final answer when we round that up, and that's, of course, in degrees. For the last problem, this one we're looking for the measure of angle F. 9 would be the opposite of that. Across from the right angle is the hypotenuse. So since we know the opposite in the hypotenuse, we want to use the trig function that relates those two. That's, of course, sine. So since we don't know the angle, let's just call it x or theta, whatever you want to call it. Let's call this one theta. So if I'm doing this, I would say the sine of theta. I'm using sine because that sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. That's going to be equal to 9 over 30. Since I'm looking for the angle, I need to use sine inverse. So sine inverse, 930 moves in, theta moves out, 9 over 30 right there is equal to theta. So second sine of 9 over 30 gives us an angle measure of 17.46. So theta is equal to 17.46 degrees, 17.46 degrees, and we are done. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, please make sure you are reaching out and asking. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.